Welcome back to English Speaking Corner. Today, we are going to talk about a feeling that every single English learner knows. It is that moment when someone asks you a question and your mind just stops. You know the words, you know the grammar, but under pressure, everything disappears. You feel your heart beating faster, you feel the silence growing longer and heavier. You feel like everyone is looking at you, waiting for an answer, but your brain is completely frozen.
That is a terrible feeling, Sarah. I think we have all been there. It is the silence trap. You feel like you need to answer immediately to prove your English is good. And because you are trying to be fast, you actually become slower. You panic. And when you panic, you cannot speak.
Exactly, Mark. But here is the secret that most learners do not realize. Native speakers do not answer immediately either. If you listen to a real conversation between two native speakers, you will rarely hear instant answers to difficult questions. What you hear instead is noise. You hear phrases that fill the silence. You hear things like, "Let me think about that," or "That is a good question."
We call these thinking phrases. They are like a bridge. They connect the question to your answer. They buy you time. When you use a thinking phrase, you are telling the listener, I heard you, I understand you, and I am preparing my answer. It keeps the conversation alive. It takes the pressure off your brain so you can find the right words.
And that is what we are going to master today. We are not just going to talk about these phrases. We are going to practice them. We are going to drill them until they become automatic. We want you to build a personal phrase book of sounds and sentences that you can use whenever you need a few extra seconds. By the end of this episode, you will never have to sit in awkward silence again.
This is the kind of practical, step-by-step training we love to do here at English Speaking Corner. If you are looking for calm, realistic lessons that help you speak with confidence, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep creating these lessons for you. Now, Sarah, where should we start?
Let's start with the most stressful moment, the beginning. This is what we call the initial reaction. Imagine you are at a dinner party or maybe in a meeting at work. Someone turns to you and asks a slightly difficult question. Maybe they say, "What do you think we should do about this project?" Or, "How do you feel about the news today?"
Right. And your immediate reaction is usually fear. You think, oh no, I need a complex opinion right now. And because you are searching for a complex opinion, you say nothing. You just stare at them. That silence makes you look unsure. It makes you look like you did not understand the English.
Exactly. But you did understand. You just need time to think. So instead of silence, we are going to use a stalling phrase. These are phrases that sound positive and engaged, but their only purpose is to buy you 3 or 4 seconds of thinking time. That might not sound like a lot, but 3 seconds is a lifetime for your brain. It is enough time to take a breath and find your first word.
Let's look at the first phrase. It is a classic. Simply say, that is a really interesting question. Notice what this does. It compliments the other person. It makes them feel good. And while you are saying those 6 words, your brain is working in the background to find your answer.
Let's try practicing that. I want you to focus on the intonation. You want to sound interested, not robotic. Listen to the melody. That is a really interesting question. Listen again. That is a really interesting question. Mark, why don't you demonstrate how that sounds in a real flow?
Sure. Imagine you ask me, Mark, what is your favorite movie of all time? That is a hard question to answer instantly. So I would say, that is a really interesting question. Well, I think I would have to say, and then I give my answer. The phrase gave me the time to choose.
Perfect. Now, listener, I want you to try. I am going to say the phrase, and then I will leave a quiet space for you to repeat it out loud. Do not just listen, speak. Here we go. That is a really interesting question.
Great. Let's try it one more time. Focus on the word interesting. Make it sound genuine. That is a really interesting question.
Excellent. Now, maybe you don't want to be that formal. Maybe you are just talking with friends. In that case, you can use a shorter, more casual phrase. You can simply say, let me see.
I use this one all the time. Let me see. It is very natural. It literally means, let me look at my thoughts. It signals that you are searching your memory. It is perfect for questions that require you to remember a fact or a detail. For example, if Sarah asks me, Mark, what time does the train leave? I might not know immediately, so I say, let me see. I think it is at 5 o'clock.
Notice how Mark stretched out the words. He did not say, let me see very fast. He said, let me see. He elongated the vowels. This is a great trick. Stretching the sounds buys you even more time. Let's practice this one. I will say it and then you shadow me. Let me see.
Try it again. Stretch the sounds. Let me.
Very good. Let's add one more to your initial reaction toolkit. This one is for when you really need a moment. Maybe the question is heavy or you're tired. You can be honest and say, give me a second to think about that.
This is a power move. It shows a lot of confidence. You are not apologizing for needing time. You are taking control of the conversation. You are telling the listener, I have a good answer, just wait for it. Give me a second to think about that.
Let's try the pronunciation. We often connect the words give and me together. It sounds like gimme. Give me a second. Try to say it smoothly. Give me a second to think about that.
Now you try. One more time. Be confident. Give me a second to think about that.
Wonderful. So now you have 3 ways to start a response without freezing. You can complement the question, you can use a casual filler like let me see, or you can ask for time directly. Just having these 3 phrases ready in your mind will lower your anxiety immediately.
But Sarah, what happens when you have already speaking? This is the second big problem area. We call this the mid-sentence bridge. You start your sentence strong. You say, I went to the store yesterday and I bought some, and then boom, you hit a wall. You forget the word for vegetables, or you lose your train of thought.
This is usually where the panic sets in. You stop, you say, you look down at your shoes, you feel embarrassed. But again, this happens to native speakers all the time. We forget words constantly. The difference is, we do not stop talking. We use phrases to talk about the fact that we forgot the word.
Right, we narrate our own struggle. It keeps the listener engaged. Instead of silence, we say things like, what is the word I am looking for?
Think about that phrase. What is the word I am looking for? It is a full sentence, it is grammatically correct, and it takes about 2 or 3 seconds to say. While you are saying it, your brain has a chance to relax and find the word vegetable. It turns a mistake into communication.
Let's practice the rhythm of that. It flows almost like one long word. What's the word I'm looking for? Listen to the stress. What is the word I am looking for? Sarah, can you show us an example?
Of course. Imagine I am talking about my office. I say, my desk is very messy. It is covered in, what is the word I'm looking for? Papers. It is covered in papers.
See how natural that sounded? It didn't sound like a mistake. It sounded like a conversation. Now, listener, it is your turn. Shadow Sarah.
What is the word I am looking for?
Try it again. Pretend you just lost a word. Keep your voice up, don't whisper. What is the word I am looking for?
Here is another one for the mid-sentence bridge. Sometimes you have the idea, but you don't know how to explain it in English. You can simply say, how do I say this? Or, how can I put this?
I love how can I put this. It implies that you have a complex thought, and you are trying to simplify it. It makes you sound smart, even though you are actually struggling to find vocabulary. It buys you a lot of grace from the listener. They will wait patiently because they think you are formulating a brilliant idea.
Let's practice the pronunciation. How can I put this? Focus on the word put. How can I put this? Now you try.
Again, how can I put this?
And one last one for the middle of a sentence. This is very common. It is simply, it is on the tip of my tongue. This is an idiom, but everyone uses it. It means I know the word, I can almost feel it, but I cannot say it.
Using idioms like this makes you sound very fluent. It is a great phrase to have in your pocket. It is on the tip of my tongue. Let's try that together.
It is on the tip of my tongue. Your turn.
One more time. It is on the tip of my tongue. So we have covered how to start and how to fix a mistake in the middle. But there is one more scenario we need to talk about. This is perhaps the scariest one, the total block. This is when the other person speaks and you simply do not understand what they said. Maybe they spoke too fast. Maybe they used a word you don't know.
The temptation here is to just nod and smile and pretend you understood. We have all done that, but that is dangerous. If they asked you a question, nodding might be the wrong answer. Then things get really awkward. It is always better to clarify, but you want to do it politely. You don't want to just say, "What?" or "I don't understand." Right. We want to use a clarification phrase. This buys you time because the other person has to speak again. This gives you a second chance to listen. And usually when people repeat themselves, they simplify their language naturally. A great phrase for this is, "Could you say that a bit differently?"
I like that because it doesn't say, I am bad at English. It says, your explanation was tricky. It asks for a rephrase, not just a repetition. If you just ask someone to repeat, they might say the exact same difficult words again. If you ask them to say it differently, they will change the words, which helps you understand.
Exactly. It is a strategic request. Could you say that a bit differently? Let's practice asking that politely. Your tone should be soft. You are asking for a favor. Could you say that a bit differently? Now you try.
Again, focus on the word differently. Could you say that a bit differently?
Another option, if you think you understood part of it but not all of it, is to check your understanding. You can say, "Do you mean that?" and then try to summarize what you think they said.
For example, if someone talks for 5 minutes about logistics and you are lost, you can catch one word and say, "Do you mean that the delivery is late?" If you are right, they will say yes. If you are wrong, they will explain it again. It is a win-win.
The phrase is simple, "Do you mean?" followed by your idea. Let's practice just the opener. Do you mean?
Try it with a rising intonation, like a question. Do you mean?
Excellent work. You now have a complete phrasebook for buying time. You have the initial reaction phrases for the start, you have the mid-sentence bridge phrases for when you get stuck, and you have the clarification phrases for when you are lost.
But knowing the phrases is only half the battle. You have to be able to use them under pressure. So we are going to do a simulation. This is the fun part. We are going to role-play a conversation.
Here is how it will work. I am going to ask you a question. I want you to listen to the question. Then do not answer immediately. I want you to use one of the phrases we learned today. Say the phrase out loud, then give a very simple answer. It doesn't have to be a true answer, just any simple answer.
For example, if Sarah asks, "What did you do this weekend?" you should say, "Let me see. I went to the park." Do you see? Phrase first, then answer. Are you ready? Let's try it.
Question number 1. What is your favorite food to cook at home?
Wait for listener to speak.
Did you use a phrase? Maybe you said, "That is an interesting question." Or, "Let me see." Let's try another one. Question number 2. This one is a bit harder. Do you think people spend too much time on their phones these days?
Wait for listener to speak.
Good. Hopefully you used a phrase like, "Give me a second to think about that." It makes the answer feel much more thoughtful, doesn't it? Let's try one where you lose a word. I want you to start answering this question, but pretend you forget the word for umbrella. I will ask, "What do you take with you when it rains?"
Wait for listener to speak.
Did you manage it? You could have said, "I take my," what is the word I am looking for? "My umbrella." That is exactly how you handle a memory lapse with confidence.
This is the key, really. It is not about being perfect. It is about being in control. When you rush, you lose control. When you use these phrases, you slow the conversation down to your speed. You force the listener to wait for you, and that puts you in a position of power.
It changes your mindset from, "I hope I can survive this conversation," to, "I can handle whatever happens in this conversation." If I freeze, I have a phrase. If I forget, I have a phrase. If I don't understand, I have a phrase. That is real confidence.
We have covered a lot today. We learned that is a really interesting question. Let me see. Give me a second to think. What is the word I am looking for? How can I put this? It's on the tip of my tongue. And could you say that a bit differently?
That is a powerful toolkit, but you need to use it. So here's our challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, try to banish silence. If you are speaking English, even if you are just talking to yourself in the mirror, make a rule: no empty silence. If you need to think, you must use a thinking phrase.
Try it out. You will feel silly at first, talking to yourself, but you will realize how much smoother your speech flows. And the next time you are in a real conversation, these phrases will be there to catch you.
Thank you so much for joining us in the English Speaking Corner today. We hope this lesson gives you a little more peace of mind the next time you have to speak. If you found this helpful, please remember to like the video and subscribe. It really helps us connect with more learners like you. Keep practicing, be kind to yourself when you make mistakes, and remember, you don't have to be fast to be fluent. You just have to be clear.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye.